Yes, students, listen carefully. 18th question. The given 18th question, what they're asked, we have to identify the correct basic strength order. So, okay, to identification of this basic strength, we know very well, we know that strong acid, okay, students, strong acid corresponding conjugate base is weak. Okay, students. Now, in the given bases corresponding acids, if you are written means we have to write correct acidic strength order. Means for example, CH3 bond CH3 ethane, its corresponding conjugate base is CH3 bond CH2 minus. An acid and its corresponding conjugate base both are divided by one proton is called as conjugate acid base pairs. Similarly, CH2 double bond CH2 ethene, its corresponding conjugate base is CH2 double bond CH2 minus. And ethine, its corresponding conjugate base is CH triple bond C minus. Okay, students, these are the conjugate bases. We got it. Now, in ethene, and ethine, in which the acidic strength, acidity order, Okay, students, the acidity order is directly proportional to, or acidic strength is directly proportional to percentage of S character. Is directly proportional to percentage of S character. If percentage of S character increases, acidic nature increases in hydrocarbons. Because the percentage of S character increases, then the electronegativity of carbon atom increases. That's why acidic nature increases. So for this acidic strength order is ethane is the more acidic. Ethane is weak acidic nature than ethene, and then ethine. So this is the more acidic nature. Its corresponding conjugate base is weak. So weak basic nature. So the basic strength order is CH3 bond CH2 minus is more basic nature when compared with CH2 double bond CH minus and then CH triple bond C minus. Okay, students, according to this, the first one is more basic than second and then third. So like option is present in a second option. B is the correct answer. And let's see that 19th question. Dear students, 19th question. We have to identify the correct stability of carbanions. Carbanion stability order we need to write. Okay, let's listen carbanion stability order. So that carbanion stability is directly proportional to minus I groups. Means minus I means electron withdrawing groups, and is inversely proportional to plus I groups, Okay, students. Now, if you observe that carbanion stability order, and this carbanion stability order is also directly proportional to resonance. If resonance structures increases, then the corresponding carbanions are more stable. That's why benzyl carbanion is more stable than allyl carbanions, and then triple bond containing carbanions, alkyl carbanions, and then alkenes carbanions, and then CH3 minus alkanes, CH3 minus, and then primary alkyl carbanions, and then secondary alkyl carbanions, and then tertiary alkyl carbanions. Okay students, so this is the carbanion stability order. So the carbanion stability is directly proportional to minus I groups and inversely proportional to plus I groups, and is also directly proportional to resonance. So the triple bond is more, means why that triple bond containing carbanions are more stable? Because of more electronegative groups, because the triple bond means percentage of S character is more. It contains sp hybridization. It has a sp hybridized carbon. Sp hybridization means more electronegative. That's more electronegative means minus I effect is more. That's why its corresponding carbanions are more stable. So according to this, R C triple bond C minus, this alkyl carbanion is more stable than this benzene. Having, you have to remove one hydrogen atom from benzene, and corresponding carbanion is more stable when compared to alkene containing carbanion, because of it is resonance stabilized. Resonance stabilized because this carbanion is also sp double bond only, sp2 carbon only, and it is also sp2 carbon, but here no resonance. That's why this is more stable. Next, these R groups are plus I groups. Tertiary alkyl carbanion. Tertiary alkyl group is attached to CH2 minus, then it is least stable. So according to that, this is the first, second, and third and fourth compound. So like option where it is present here, students, 1 2 3 4, C is a correct answer. So whenever you have thinking about the carbanion stability order is directly proportional to minus I and inversely proportional to plus I group. But carbocations, what happens, dear students? Carbocation stability is directly proportional to plus I groups and inversely proportional to minus I groups, and is also directly proportional to resonance. Is also directly proportional to resonance. Carbanions as well as carbon free radicals also. So both are similar and opposite carbanion stability. Okay students, so 19th question answer is third option. Okay, let's go for next question, dear students. Let's see. Quantitative analysis means we have to estimate the percentage of elements present in the organic compounds, means percentage of carbon, percentage of halogens, chlorine, bromine, iodine. At the same way, percentage of nitrogen, okay, percentage of sulfur, percentage of barium. These all formulas are very important. Among those, mainly previously they are asked percentage of nitrogen in Dumas method and Geldas method, the estimation of percentage of nitrogen in the given organic compound in Dumas method and the Geldas method mostly frequently repeated that question. So let's see that 20th question. In Dumas method, in Dumas method the nitrogen containing organic compound, nitrogen containing organic compound, okay, nitrogen containing organic compound is converted into N2 form, okay, is converted into N2 gas at STP conditions. So the given organic compound having nitrogen atoms are present, they are converting into N2 form. In that case, the percentage of nitrogen formula, okay students, listen carefully. We have to remember the formula, just we have to substitute the values, then we'll get a percentage of nitrogen we'll get in the given organic compound. In that case, the percentage of nitrogen formula is equals to 28 N2 gram atom molecular weight is 28, and it's at STP N2 gas, 1 mole of N2 gas occupied volume is 22,400 ml into volume of volume of N2 gas, volume of N2 gas at STP, standard temperature pressure at STP. Temperature is 273 kelvins temperature and pressure is 1 atmospheric pressure. That condition is known as a STP condition. If the given volume of N2 and temperature they are not given at STP condition, means we have to calculate the volume of nitrogen gas at STP condition. We need to calculate by using P1 V1 by T1 is equals to P2 V2 by T2 relation. Okay students, and weight of organic compound into 100, weight of organic compound into 100. Now if you observe that given organic compound weight is 0.25 grams they gave, and this organic compound 0.25 grams of organic compound is giving 40 ml of N2, 40 ml of nitrogen gas is formed, but at 300 kelvins. But STP condition means the temperature is 273 kelvins temperature. Okay, 273 kelvins temperature and the pressure is equals to 760 mm or 1 atmospheric pressure. But here the temperature is 300 kelvins they given. That's why we have to calculate the volume of N2, dry gas volume of N2 at STP condition. Volume we need to calculate at 273 kelvins temperature. But the temperature 300 kelvins they gave, and pressure of at that temperature the pressure is 725 mm and the aqueous tension of the given gas is at 300 kelvins is 25 mm they give. In that case, okay students, in that case let at STP condition the pressure is equals to P1 is equals to 760 mm. Okay, and the temperature let it be T1 is equals to 273 kelvins temperature, and volume is equals to V2. Volume V2 means the volume of N2 we have to calculate. Let's see the given P2 given values. The given values P2 is equals to dry N2 pressure, dry N2 gas pressure is equals to aqueous pressure or total pressure minus aqueous tension. Okay, then only dry gas pressure will get. The total pressure how much they given? 725 minus 25 is equals to 700 mm. Okay students, whenever aqueous tension they given means you have to subtract that aqueous tension pressure, then we'll get a dry gas pressure under the given conditions. And the temperature T2 is equals to 300 kelvins temperature, and the volume of N2 under 300 kelvins temperature is 40 ml. 40 ml. Okay students, the formula is, let's listen the formula. P1 V1 by T1 is equals to P2 V2 by T2. P2 V2 by T2. Now what we have to calculate, dear students? V1 we need to calculate. Let's it. V1 is equals to, means the volume of N2 at STP condition. V1 is equals to P2 V2 by T2 into T1 by V1. P2 how much they gave, dear students? 700. 700 into V2 40 by T2 300 into T1 is 273 by P1 760 is on simplification. The volume of N2 gas under dry at STP condition, the volume of N2 gas at STP condition will get 33.52 ml will get. Okay students, now the volume we know that, and this volume we calculated, and volume weight of organic compound we know that. Just you have to substitute this value in the above formula, then the percentage of nitrogen in Dumas method is equals to 28 by 22,400 ml into volume of N2 at STP is equals to 33.52, okay, divided by weight of organic compound 0.25 into 100. So this type of questions, they are repeated so many times. So sometimes what they are giving, instead of this 0.25 grams, the weight of organic compound, they are giving 0.35 grams in previously. And this pressure, aqueous N2 gas pressure may be 750 they give. This aqueous tension may they give 30 mm, like they give different conditions. Then that case also, just you have to calculate the volume of N2 gas under STP condition. You have to calculate by using P1 V1 by T1 is equals to P2 V2 by T2 formula. After find outing the volume of N2 at STP condition, just you have to substitute that values in the above formula. The formula is 28 by 22,400 into volume of N2 at STP by weight of organic compound into 100 is on simplification. We'll get around percentage. How much we'll get, dear students? 16.76 percentage will get. Okay, first option is correct. This is Dumas method. In Dumas method, nitrogen gas, organic compound containing nitrogen or nitrogen containing organic compound, just we are converting into nitrogen gas, converted into nitrogen gas. So that case, how much percentage of nitrogen is present means the formula, this is the formula. Okay, this formula is very, very important. Okay, let's see the 21 question in Jaldas method. This is also very, very important, dear students. In Jaldas method, the nitrogen we are estimated, the organic compound containing nitrogen, we are estimated in the form of NH3, converts into NH3 gas, ammonia gas. This ammonia gas, in that ammonia gas, what they are doing, this ammonia gas, they are neutralizing with neutralization with exact known value of acid, So under this condition, the percentage of nitrogen formula is equals to 1.4 into normality of acid into volume of acid by weight of organic compound. So in Jaldas method, if you observe that in this method, the estimation of nitrogen present in solid sample as ammonia is evaluated from 0.75 grams. So the weight of organic compound is 0.75 grams they get. So that resultant released ammonia gas is exactly neutralized by using 10 ml. The volume of acid is equals to 10 ml. And acid, normality of acid means here the acid they gave H2SO4 they gave. So for this case, we know very well, dear students, normality is equals to molarity into N factor. Here molarity they gave, so the normality of H2SO4 is equals to molarity into 2. Because N factor for H2SO4 is ionized to gives 2H plus SO4 2 minus. That's why in aqueous solutions H2SO4 is ionized to gives 2H plus ions. That's why N factor of H2SO4 is 2. That's why normality of H2SO4 is equals to molarity 1 into 2 is equals to 2 normal. Okay, now the percentage of nitrogen is equals to 1.4 into normality of acid is 2 and volume is 10 ml by the weight of organic compound. Weight of organic compound is 0.75 grams. Is on simplification, we'll get 37.33 percentage. Okay, students, this is one important method. 37.33 percentage. Now this is model 1. Okay, now another model is present here, students. In that another model, what it is, for example, the ammonia gas, the resultant ammonia gas, they are neutralized by using excess of acid. Here they are taking some excess of acid. Excess of acid they are used. So in that case, excess of acid, normality they will give, and volume of acid also they will give. So but how much ammonia is present, that excess of acid, due to the presence of excess of acid, then how much ammonia gas is released, we don't know. Okay, that's why what they are doing then, to this, to neutralize excess of acid, by adding exact value of or exact quantity of base, its normality is NB and its volume is VB. Under these conditions, the percentage of nitrogen formula in Geldas method under these conditions is equals to 1.4 into normality of acid into volume of acid, excess of acid normality and its volume, minus normality of base into volume of base, divided by weight of organic compound. This formula is very important, dear students. So that related questions also previously they are asked in NEET and JEE examination. So this kind of model questions also be coming. You have to solve your own. Okay, this is about Geldas method for the estimation or identification of percentage of nitrogen in the given organic compounds related problems. Okay, students, and let's listen. This is about quantitative analysis. Next, in qualitative analysis means we have to identify the elements present in the organic compound. For example, the organic compounds containing halogens are present, then how to identify the halogens? If halogens are present means how to identify the halogens? And if the organic compound is nitrogen present, then how to identify the nitrogen present in the organic compound? Identification tests of elements is nothing but qualitative analysis. Nitrogen, sulfur, halogens, these all. Okay, so one important test is there for the identification of elements like halogens, nitrogen, sulfur. Those all elements we can identify by using Lassen's reagent. Okay, by using a Lassen's reagent. Okay, students, let's see this Lassen's reagent. By using this Lassen's reagent, we can identify this Lassen's reagent or Lassen's test. Lassen's reagent test is used to identification of nitrogen and halogens. Chlorine, halogens means what are the, dear students? Chlorine, bromine and iodine we can observe. Okay, halogens and sulfur. Okay, sulfur, these elements we can identify by using a Lassen's reagent test. In this Lassen's reagent test, how to prepare Lassen's reagent? Preparation of Lassen's reagent. Let's see, dear students. Organic compound means that organic compound must contains halogens or nitrogen or sulfur are fused with sodium metal, fused on fusion. Then this organic compound is converted into, if the organic compound having halogens are present, if halogens are present, if the organic compound having halogens are present, forms NaX, means the organic compound, it is a covalent compound. And in this covalent compound in Lassen's reagent, this becomes Lassen's reagent, it is ionic compound. You have to remember these all points, dear students. It becomes ionic compound. If halogen is present means the Lassen's reagent is NaX. If for example The organic compound, however, it is carbon is present. The carbon and nitrogen, they are converted into NaCN, sodium cyanide. If sulfur is present, then it is converted into Na2S, sodium sulfide. If both nitrogen and sulfur both are present, then it is becomes sodium thiocyanate, NaSCN. So this, if for example both sulfur and nitrogen are present, the Lassen's reagent belongs to NaSCN. If sulfur only present, sodium sulfide, Na2S. Only nitrogen present, sodium cyanate. Halogens are present, sodium halides, NaX. So like that, Lassen's reagent is converting. This Lassen's reagent is used for the identification of nitrogen, halogens, and sulfur present in the given organic compounds. So how to, by using Lassen's reagent, how to detect the nitrogen in the given organic compounds, and finally what kind of color is forming in the given test tubes. For example, you have to imagine that in the given organic compound nitrogen is present. So organic compound is fused with sodium, then we are getting NaCN, sodium thiocyanate. Okay, because this organic compound having nitrogen is present. Now the sodium thiocyanate is formed. This is Lassen's reagent. We are adding freshly prepared ferrous sulfate, excess of ferrous sulfate plus concentrated H2SO4 we are adding. Finally forms Prussian blue color. Prussian blue color complex. What is the Prussian blue color complex? Sometimes color only they are asking. Sometimes what is the complex formula they are asking. So that Prussian blue color complex formula is Fe4 FeCN 6 times thrice. So this formula also we need to remember, dear students. Now let's listen how this compound is forming. First this sodium cyanide means Lassen's reagent. Reaction with ferrous sulfate. Reaction with ferrous sulfate forms Na4 FeCN6 complex is forming, and plus Na2SO4. Okay, again this ferrous sulfate reacts with concentrated H2SO4, forms ferric sulfate, Fe2SO4 thrice. This ferric sulfate reacts with Na4 FeCN6 Fe2SO4 thrice to forms Fe4 FeCN 6 times thrice. So thrice means this we need to take 3 moles, and this we need to take 2 moles, then Fe4 FeCN 6 thrice, and plus 6 moles of Na2SO4 is forming. Okay, this is Prussian blue color complex. It is a blue color complex. Okay, student, this test is known as a Lassen's reagent test, used for the identification of nitrogen. So the answer is B option. Answer is B option. Okay, up to that it's very clear, dear students. If NaX halogens are present, then this NaX sodium halides you have to treat it with silver nitrate, then we are getting AgX. If it is a white PPT is formed, then chlorides. Okay, yellow PPT is formed bromides. Yellow PPT is formed bromide, and is insoluble in a dilute HCl. Insoluble in dilute HCl, then it is bromide. Sorry, soluble in a soluble in dilute HCl, then it is bromides. Or again yellow PPT is formed and it is insoluble, then it is iodides and insoluble HCl, concentrated HCl. That is about a halogens identification test. For example, sulfur is present, then the sodium sulfide Na2S treated with lead acetate, ACO twice lead, then forms PBS, black color lead sulfide will form. This is about indication of sulfur. And so both nitrogen and sulfur is present, then it is treated with ferric chloride solution, forms FeSCN thrice complex will forms. It is a blood red color complex. Blood red color complex will form. So blood red color complex is formed in Larsen's reagent. What are the elements present in the given organic compound? Nitrogen and sulfur, both nitrogen and sulfur. Prussian blue color is formed. Then what is the element present in the organic compound? Nitrogen is present. So like that way, we have to identify the elements. What are those? Nitrogen, halogens and sulfur we can identify by using Larsen's reagent. Okay students, next let's see next question. 23rd question. See dear students, which of the following compound undergoes nucleophilic substitution exclusively by SN1 reaction? So that SN1 reactions, in SN1 reaction taking place in two steps. In two steps, the mechanism is taking place in two steps in which carbocation intermediate forms. Okay, in which stable carbocation intermediate will forms. Carbocation intermediate will form. That's why in alkyl halides, tertiary alkyl halides are more reactive than secondary alkyl halides for SN1 reaction as well as primary alkyl halides. If for example compared to the tertiary, benzyl halides are more. Benzyl halides more than allyl. And then tertiary, like that SN1 reaction order will come. So if after the given options, the first one A is ethyl chloride, CH3 CH2 Cl forms ethyl carbocation. It is a primary carbocation, primary alkyl carbocation. B is isopropyl chloride. This is isopropyl chloride, forms secondary carbocation. It is primary alkyl carbocation. It is secondary alkyl carbocation. And C is chlorobenzene. This chlorobenzene is attached to, means that chlorine is attached to sp2 carbon, means phenyl carbocation will forms. So it is very difficult formation. It is less stable and less reactive. Next, benzyl chloride. Benzyl chloride. Benzyl chloride means, let's see dear student, benzyl, ZYL means CH2Cl. Benzoyl means C double bond O Cl. Acyl chloride, that is benzoyl, C double bond O Cl. This is benzyl chloride. To produce more stable benzyl carbocation, it is more stable. That's why reactivity order, if you observe that reactivity order, D is more, then B, and then A, and then C. This is the most reactive is D. So the answer is D. So sometimes they will give 4 options and we have to arrange that correct order, correct increasing SN1 reaction order, or decreasing, increasing SN2 reaction, reverse SN2 reactions. Okay students. Next, 24th question. Let's see dear students. This is the RS nomenclature. RS nomenclature. R and S nomenclature. So how to write the RS nomenclature? This RS nomenclature, when we have to write, when the asymmetric carbon or chiral carbon attached 4 groups, they are arranged in a clockwise direction, then it is R configuration. If they are arranged in anti-clockwise direction, then we have to call it S configuration. Then how to identify whether they are in clockwise or in anti-clockwise? So based on a priority. So here in which priority is based on atomic number of atom attached to chiral carbon, chiral or asymmetric carbon. Okay students, and the priority is in clockwise direction, then it is R, anti-clockwise direction it is S, and least priority group should be in the 4th position. It should be in a backside. The least priority group should be in a backside, and thick and dotted lines indicates the front and back. One group is front and one group is backside, and the remaining normal single lines are indicates the elements atoms are present on the plane. Now let's see the given compound. Bromine, CH3, this is the chlorine, and the hydrogen atom, like it is the hydrogen atom is on back side, then chlorine is on front side. So already I said the priority is based on atomic numbers. I said this is the chiral carbon or asymmetric carbon. So this attached atoms, bromine is an atom and it is hydrogen, it is chlorine and it is carbon. That carbon atomic number Z is equals to 6. If for example attached atoms are same, means you go for next atom. Like that way we have to identify the priority groups. For example, isotopes they given, means you have to consider mass, means for example H, T, like deuterium, tritium, like they gave. For example H, D and T, tritium and chlorine, like that they gave. Like this case, how to identify the RS nomenclature. So among that chlorine is more, so it is first. Next deuterium mass, tritium mass is more, then it is second, it is a third, and it is a fourth, and fourth priority group is on backside only. So just to close that 4th priority group, the remaining groups are present in a clockwise direction, then it is a clockwise, then R, then it is clockwise direction. If anti-clockwise, S configuration. Now in the given organic compound, bromine goes to more priority, next chlorine, next carbon. So these 3 groups, the 4th priority group is a hydrogen, and 4th priority group is on backside only. That's why just let it that group, and remaining groups are in clockwise direction. That's why it is called R configuration. Okay student, then it is R. So the answer is A option. For example, if least priority, when least priority group on backside, then clockwise R, anti-clockwise S. For example, reverse, if least priority group is on front, then clockwise direction we have to consider as S, and anti-clockwise direction we have to consider as R. For example, for this case example, let's see, just I will give this carbon, bromine, just I am changing, this hydrogen is on front, this hydrogen is on front, and this chlorine is on back side, and CH3 as usual. Now priorities, we know that this is 1 and 2 and 3, and this is 4. The 4th one is least priority group is on front side carbon. That's why the reverse, this is on clockwise direction, clockwise, that's why it is a S configuration, not R. Anti-clockwise, then R configuration will come. So that difference you must have to identify carefully. Okay, students, that is about RS nomenclature. So it's very easy and rarely they are asking this kind of questions. Okay, students. Okay, let's go for next question. Calculations of empirical formulas and molecular formulas. Actually, this type of concepts we are practiced in some basic concepts of chemistry. But however, in organic chemistry means carbon, hydrogen, and other elements, nitrogen, oxygen containing elements. Also, they are asking in organic chemistry related empirical formulas calculations. They are asking. So it's very easy. So given percentages, you have to write first. Before writing that percentages, given elements you have to write elements. What are the elements they given, dear students? Carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen they give, and the given percentage by weight. How much percentage by weight they gave, and you have to observe the total percentage. If it is equal to 100, then okay. If it is not equal to 100, means the rest of the percentage is present oxygen atom. So that's why you have to observe carefully the total percentage. If it is 100k, means okay, what are the elements they gave, those elements only present. If it is not equal to 100, means that percentage of oxygen is equal to 100 minus the percentage of all elements present in the compound. Then oxygen atom also be present in the given organic compound. Now the percentages: carbon 40 percentage give, and hydrogen 13.3 percentage, and nitrogen 46.7 percentage they give. After this is the first step. First, this is the given data. Next, we have to find out the relative number of atoms. Relative number of atoms is equals to moles only, is equals to N is equals to weight by gram atomic weight. Means the weight is nothing but percentage of weight. 40 by 12 and 13.3 by 1 and 46.7 by 1. Okay, students. Now just this 40 by 12 value is 3.3 and it is 13.3. It is also, sorry, nitrogen 7. The atomic weight, sorry, nitrogen nitrogen 14, nitrogen 14 day students atomic weight, then it is also comes 13.3.3. Then simplest ratio, next step is simplest ratio. The simplest ratio is nothing but empirical formula. Simplest ratio need to divide it by smallest value. How to find out simplest ratio, dear students? Divided by smallest value. The smallest value is 3.3 only. 3.3 by 3.3 is equals to 1, and 13.3 by 3.3 is nothing but 4 approximately, and 3.3 by 3.3 is equals to 1. So the simplest ratio, carbon is to hydrogen is to nitrogen is equals to 1 is to 4 is to 1. The simplest ratio is nothing but empirical formula. So therefore empirical formula is equals to CH4N. CH4N. So the answer is third option. Okay, students, and very, very important. And let's see the next question. Correct acidic strength order. We know very well acidic strength order. Carboxylic acids. Carboxylic acids are ionized to give carboxylate ion and H plus. And this H plus will be stabilized, resonance stabilized. to produce this carboxylate ion is resonance stabilized. That's why carboxylic acid, it is stabilized by resonance. Therefore, carboxylic acids are more acidic nature. More acidic nature than alcohols as well as phenol also. Alcohols as well as phenol. That's why more acidic nature is RCOH is more acidic nature, and water. Water can ionize fast when compared with alcohols. That's why alcohols are weak acids when compared to water, and then ammonia, and then alkynes. You have to remember these students, I am giving more information, and then alkenes, and then alkanes. So in the given just they are asked comparison acids, water, alcohols and alkane they are asked. So the correct order is B option is correct. Okay students, let's see that 27th question, dear students. Very easy, just we have to identify the correct sequence. First sp3, next sp2, sp2, sp3, sp2, sp2, sp, sp structure containing organic compound we have to identify. If you observe that the D option, this is sp3, sp2, sp2 double bond is present, sp2 all carbon atom having all single bonds, sp3 triple bond is present, one triple bond or two double bonds are present, then it is sp hybridization. Now it is single bonds only, then again sp3, sp2, and again it is sp2, and this is sp, and this is sp hybridization. See the given sequence: sp3, sp2, sp2, sp3, sp2, sp2, sp and sp. So the answer is D option. Okay, this kind of questions also they are asking sometimes in NEET and CET examination. Okay students, next let's go for next question. 28th question. Which compound exhibits cis and trans isomerism? Means is nothing but geometrical isomerism. Let's see the conditions to exhibits geometrical isomerism. Exhibits a geometrical isomerism. What is the condition, dear students, to exhibit geometrical isomerism? So alkenes to exhibit geometrical isomerism means at each condition is at each sp2 carbon, at each sp2 carbon having different groups, then exhibits geometrical isomerism. Let's see the first one. There is no double bond, that's why does not exhibits. Now let's the second triple bond is present, having triple bond, that's why does not exhibits. Next third one, double bond is present, present, and at each sp2 carbon, having different groups, having hydrogen and chlorine. That's why these are different groups, different source geometrical isomerism. Let's see this carbon and carbon double bond, and here chlorine is present and hydrogen is present, and this hydrogen and chlorine different groups, and both same groups are in the same side, it is a cis. If they are in opposite side, trans. They are opposite side, trans. Next D option, so the answer is third option. And the D option, if you observe that there is no double bond, That's why it does not exhibit. So the answer is C. So without checking this condition also we can identify. Sometimes what they give, double bond only they will give. For example, if they are giving CH3 bond CH double bond CH2, like see this carbon has different groups are there, CH3 and hydrogen, it's okay, but here both groups are same, that's why it does not exhibit. Like this type of compound they will give. For example, carbon and carbon, here the CH3 and here CH3 and here CH3 and here H they gave. Like these are the different groups, but these are same. That's why it does not exhibit. So that's why what is the necessary condition to exhibit geometrical isometry, students? At each sp2 carbon, like this is sp2 carbon, one sp2 carbon, and this is another sp2 carbon. At each sp2 carbon having different groups, this is both are different, and these two also different. So and around the double bond same groups are on the same side, it is cis. If they are in opposite side, it is called a trans. This is about a geometrical isomerism and conditions. Based on that condition we can identify very easily which compound exhibits geometrical isomerism and which compound does not exhibit geometrical isomerism. Okay students, let's see next 30th question. 30th question, the given hydrocarbon is cyclic nature, ma. Cyclic hydrocarbon, cyclic, and carbon and hydrogens all are present in the plane. Okay, carbon and hydrogens present in planar in shape, but the carbon and carbon bond length, the given organic compound carbon and carbon bond length is less than 1.54, but it is more than 1.34. Means in between these two, it may be maybe 1.39 angstroms, like 1.39, means that is benzene. That is a benzene molecule. So the benzene is being like this. Now in the benzene means each carbon hybridization is sp2 carbon. It is sp2 carbon. So the bond angle is 120 degrees. Okay students, the bond angle is 120 degrees. Next, 32 question, just see dear students. Chlorine, carbon and chlorine bond angles we have to identify. In 1,1, 2,2 tetrachloroethene. So 32, 31 I will explain you later. So 32, if you are observed that carbon and carbon double bond is present, and one carbon having chlorine and chlorine, and another carbon also having chlorine and chlorine is present, and bond angle it is sp2, means the carbon atoms are sp2 hybridized carbons. That's why this bond angle is 120 degrees. Next, another compound, tetrachloromethane. Carbon has all single bonds, means sp3 carbon. So sp3 carbon means its bond angle is 109 degrees 28 minutes. So 109 degrees. So like option is present in A option. Okay students. Now let's see the 31 question. What they asked, how many chain isomers will be obtained for C6H14? This is alkane. So that alkanes exhibits chain isomerism. 6 carbon atoms containing alkane exhibits how many chain isomers? So the answer is 5. How we are getting the 5? I will draw, and we have to remember. So minimum how many carbon atoms required to exhibit chain isomerism for alkanes? 4 is required. Means the chain isomerism exhibits from N-butane onwards. Means 4 carbon atoms are required. Okay, I will give that total number of chain isomers for first 4 to 10 carbon atoms. Let's see the 31 question, dear students. C6H14 has 5 chain isomers are present. So 5 chain isomers. Okay, what are those 5 chain isomers? If you observe that 6 carbon atoms, just you have to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. This is bond line structures. Okay, students. This is N-hexane. Okay, next. 5 carbon atoms are in straight chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Means 2 methyl pentane are isohexane. Is another. Next, this is a 3 methyl pentane. 3 methyl pentane. Okay, like 3 we got. Now 1 carbon atom, 5 I am taking in straight chain and 1 substituent I am taking. Now 4 I will take in straight chain and I will take like this. This is a neohexane. Neohexane is the common name, or IUPAC name you want means 2, 2 dimethyl butane. Next, another one is like 2, 3 dimethyl butane. So how many we got, dear students? Total 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 chain isomers are getting. Okay, number of carbon atoms and chain isomers and number of chain isomers. Okay, students, let's see that. So minimum 4 carbon atoms are present means 2 chain isomers are present. 5 carbons are 3 and 6 carbons are 5 and 7 carbons are present, then 9, 8 carbons are present, 18, 9 carbons are present, 35 chain isomers will get, and 10 carbons are present, 75 chain isomers will present. Okay, so this is about information related to alkanes exhibiting number of chain isomers. Okay, let's go for 33 question, dear students. See this given nucleophilic substitution reaction. This given nucleophilic substitution reaction is SN2 reaction. So the for SN2 reactions, nucleophilicity is directly proportional to basicity. So you have to remember, dear students, directly proportional to basicity. And for SN1 reactions, nucleophilicity is inversely proportional to basicity or basic nature. Inversely proportional to basic nature. Now SN1 reactions basicity we need to write. So the given bases, these are the bases we know very well. Strong acid, its corresponding conjugate base is weak. Conjugate base is weak. So acidic strength first you have to write. Acidic nature. So the acidic nature, this is the corresponding acid is phenol and this is acidic acid. ACOH means acetic acid. CH3 COOH is nothing but acetic acid. Is more acidic. Acids are more acidic than phenol. And then water and then alcohols. This is methanol, is alcohols. Okay, according to that. Now basic nature order, basicity or basic nature order or nucleophilicity order. Reverse means CH3O minus is more nucleophilicity nature or more basic nature than OH minus, and then phenoxide ion and then acetate ion. Okay, students. So like option where it is present here, students, D, C, like DC, next A, D, C, A and B. So like C option is correct. Okay, students. So you have to remember. So for SN2 reactions, nucleophilicity is directly proportional to basic nature, and SN1 reactions, nucleophilicity is inversely proportional to basic nature, and SN1 reactions are favorable polar solvents, and these are favor in protic polar solvent. These are favorable in non protic polar solvents like DMF, dimethyl formaldehyde, is more favorable. Okay, solvent effect also we have to understand. And how can I identify whether this reaction is SN1, dear students? For SN1 reaction, sorry, how can I identify SN2, dear students? SN2 is nothing but primary alkyl halides are more react. This is methyl bromide is primary alkyl halide. That's why it is more react. Then secondary and then tertiary. But SN1 reverse. Tertiary alkyl halides are more than secondary and then primary alkyl halides. Okay, students, is very, very important. Next, let's see that 34 question, dear students. So the given question, what they're asked, which is not a resonance form of enolate ion. So in this equation, which is not the resonance form, we have to identify. This is the base. This base removes that more acidic proton. These are the carbonyl carbons or electron minus I groups. Okay, and adjacent carbons, these are the alpha carbon. This alpha carbon containing hydrogens are acidic nature, and this hydrogen is also having acidic nature. But the acidity, this for example, this hydrogen is A, this hydrogen let it be B, and A is more acidic than B hydrogen. So that's why this base removes this proton and forms carbanion. Forms carbanion. That proton they removes and forms carbanion. This carbanion will be stabilized by enolate ions, and more stable enolate ion will forms. Like a double bond will forms and O minus. These are maybe like. Otherwise, if it is migrated this side, then we'll get like this structure also. O minus. So it is present. This is also be present, and it is also be present. And sorry, here methyl group is also present. CH3. CH3. So this is not a present. So the answer is B, which is not the resonance form. So the answer is a B. B option is correct. Okay. Let's go for next question, dear students. Next, the stereochemistry related to SN1 and SN2 reactions. SN2 reactions, inversion configuration. For SN1 reaction, partial racemic mixture. Partial racemic mixture will form. So this is a DMF, dimethyl formamide, is non-polar solvent. Non-polar aprotic solvent. Protic and aprotic. What is the meaning? The solvent which can able to give protons H plus ions, it is called as protic solvent, like water and alcohols. Aprotic, polar aprotic solvent means the solvent doesn't give protons. That is called non-polar aprotic solvent, doesn't give H plus ions. Then these solvents are favorable for SN2 reactions, and SN2 reactions, the nucleophile is here, will be attacked from inversion, means backside it will attack. For example, this group is on front, leaving group. This is the leaving group is on front side. Then the nucleophile will be attacked on a backside. Backside means it is the thick line, then the backside means dotted lines will be present. So the product will be being like this. pH, like, so where it is present, first option is correct. Okay, students. But in SN1 reactions, what happens? Racemic mixture means front side one maybe partial racemic means front means front side compound maybe the same retention compound maybe 60 percentage, inversion product is 40 percentage, like in different ratios they will form. It is known as a racemic mixture. Okay, complete inversion product, for example this compound is in R configuration and the product is a S configuration, or if this is R nothing but D, it is a L product will comes. But in SN one mechanism D and L both will form, that is partial racemic mixture. Exact 50 percentage D and 50 percentage L means it is racemic mixture. Unequal quantities they are present means it is partial racemic mixture. Okay students, let's go for next question dear students. Is very important and very easy. So we have to identify the correct bond dissociation energies. The bond dissociation energy in homolytic fission. In homolytic fission, what will form, dear students? Free radicals formed. Okay, free radicals are formed. Now, which carbon and hydrogen can breaks easily, and which carbon and hydrogen can breaks required more energy? Correct bond dissociation energy order we need to write. Okay. This hydrogen is attached to sp2 carbon. Okay, and next hydrogen atoms, these hydrogen atoms they are mentioned as Y. Next hydrogen atoms they are mentioned as X. Okay, now we are breaking this hydrogen, we are getting this type of free radical. It is this free radical is what kind of free radical, dear students? Vinyl free radical. Vinyl free radical. Unstable. So that's why its bond dissociation energy is more. This BD is more. To break this bond, because this is sp2 carbon means more electronegative and bond length is less. Bond length is less. Okay, next if you are breaking this, then getting free radical, this free radical is attached to, means it is sp3 carbon. This sp3 carbon containing free radical is attached to sp2 carbon. It is nothing but allyl free radical. Allyl free radical. This stabilized by hyperconjugation and resonance. So that's why its bond dissociation energy is BD is low, very low. Okay, now it is, if you are breaking this, then it is a secondary free radical. Just it is a secondary free radical stabilized by hyperconjugations. That's why the stability order of the given free radicals are Y is more stable than X and then Z and then Z. So this is Z they give. Now bond dissociation energy orders reverse. So bond dissociation energy orders are Z is more than X and then Y. Z X and Y means B is the correct answer. Okay students, and let's go for 39th question. So we have to identify the correct boiling points order. This boiling points is directly proportional to hydrogen bonding strength. Hydrogen bonding strength. This hydrogen bonding strength, this OH strength is more than NH. Nitrogen and hydrogen bond strength is, this OH is more when compared to nitrogen and hydrogen. Okay, it is more. That's why this alcohol has more boiling point. So this pentyl alcohol is more boiling point. Then this is secondary amine and it is OH, can able to form hydrogen bond. It is also can able to form a hydrogen bond. Secondary and primary can form. Tertiary, no hydrogen bond, no hydrogen bond. Okay, that's why this compound has more. Next, ethers. This is cyclic ether. Cyclic ethers. So we know very well the boiling points of alcohols are more than amines and then ethers according to that. And tertiary amine. This is a tertiary amine. Why tertiary amines are low boiling points? Because no hydrogen bond. No hydrogen bond. So the correct answer is W is more than Z and then X and then Y. And then Y is the correct boiling point order. Okay, students, let's go for last question. What is the relation between the X and Y? If you are observed that X and Y relation, this X and Y enantiomers means when the enantiomeric relationship will come, dear students, non-superimposable, non-super mirror images, non-super mirror image, sorry, both are mirror images but non-superimposable. Non-superimposable mirror images are called enantiomers. Non-superimposable mirror images. The enantiomers means non-superimposable mirror images. And diastereomers means both non-superimposable and non-mirror images. Those are called diastereomers. And constitutional isomers means it may be either geometrical isomers or optical isomers, like that will come constitutional. And conformers means the rotation about carbon and carbon bonds forms infinite number of conformers or rotamers or conformers is known as a conformers, and that phenomenon is known as conformational isomers. And these conformers main more energetic form is more energetic form is eclipsed, and more stable form staggered. Okay, if more stable form means the same groups are in the separated by large distance, then it is staggered. The X is staggered and Y is these same groups are very close. Their dihedral angle is 0. Here that theta is 0 and it is called eclipsed form. And here the dihedral angle, the similar groups and bulky groups, the exactly opposite K means the dihedral angle to getting this group, it is staggered or anti-staggered form. Anti-staggered form is stable form. Then the dihedral angle in between the chlorine and hydrogen theta is equals to 60 degrees or 180 degrees also will comes, like this chlorine and chlorine. Okay, so this, what is the relation between the X and Y, dear students? X and Y are both only just conformers only, not enantiomers as well as a diastereomeric relationship. Because if one is eclipsed form, another one is a staggered form. Eclipsed and staggered forms are belongs to conformers. Okay, so the answer is a D option. Okay, students, thank you. And please subscribe everyone my channel and like and share.